Awesome. I'm here. We come back. So I hope you enjoyed that video and I hope you're ready for our next session. It's gonna be an round table about women in data science. So I hope you're ready to hear about these three amazing women that's gonna are gonna talk about their experience and everything about women in data science. So yes. Oh, here they are. Hello, Anshel. Hi, Ornella. How are you? And Locksley, how are you, everyone? How are you ready for your presentation?
Hi.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Very excited.
That's awesome. So, what are you gonna be talking about in the roundtable? Yeah, you can introduce yourself.
Yeah. So I actually have an introduction slide that I'm trying to share, but I don't see it.
We see it the screen.
Oh, okay. Great.
Awesome.
So hi, everyone. I am Ornella Altunyan, and I'm a cloud developer advocate at Microsoft. And I'm joined today by Anshel and Locksley, who thanks so much for joining. And we're going to talk about women in data science. So I will pass it over to Anshel to introduce herself.
Sure. Thanks. So hey everyone, my name is Anchal Dhala. I am a senior data science consultant at Capgemini in Dubai. My role basically involves working with different clients to build and deploy their data science and AI solutions on scale. Previously, I started off working as a developer advocate at IBM and then moved to a data and AI technical sales role. I'm a graduate from the University of Wollongong in Australia, and apart from my job, I also love doing a lot of community work. Like, for instance, I am a co-ambassador at the Women in Data Science, which is a Stanford University community. And that's about me.
Great. Locksley, can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, and first of all, Anshel, that was such a cool background. Oh my goodness, I'm like so inspired. So awesome to learn more about you. So hello, my name is Locksley. I am a software architect analyst at Accenture. A little bit more about me. I just graduated from the University of Washington, Seattle with a Bachelor of Science degree in Informatics. But I'm actually still a student, which is probably why I'm still part of the Global AI Student Conference, because I just began my master's degree at the University of Washington 2 weeks ago. It's been a ton of fun. Outside of school, I've held internships at Microsoft and Accenture, as well as a data science internship at a startup, which we'll get more into later in this talk. And then now, in addition to my classes, I started full-time at Accenture as a technology analyst. Man, 4 months ago, I think 4 months anniversary, like 3 days from now, which is crazy. It's like, it's going by so fast. And let's see a little bit, just one fun fact about me, because I just have to say this at every single chance I can get, completely unrelated to data science and technology. I have been training to climb Mount St. Helens for an entire year, and I finally did it 2 weeks ago to this day. So totally off topic, but if you have questions about climbing Mount St. Helens, hit me up for that too.
Congratulations, Locksley. That's amazing. On top of all of your other accomplishments, of course.
Thank you.
And just to introduce myself, so I'm Ornella Altunyan. I work at Microsoft. I actually started here as an intern many years ago, and I was a product manager for HoloLens. You may know me from the VS Code videos. If you've ever downloaded VS Code, you might see my face pop up on the screen. But now I work on the education advocacy team here at Microsoft, helping students learn how to make really cool stuff with Microsoft technologies. So that's kind of where I focus my efforts now and why I am moderating this panel. So I would love for each of you to kind of talk about how you got started with data science. What was your first introduction to it? What inspired you about it? Locksley, do you want to start?
Yes, I feel like, so man, my first experience with data science, it wasn't even that long ago when I think about it. It was technically, my goodness, like maybe 18 months ago, 20 months ago. It's kind of crazy. So actually, first time was 3 years ago when I first did the Girls Who Code summer immersion program. And we did like 2 weeks where we learned like intro to like Python, specifically with a data science focus. But I feel like I didn't really latch on to data science at that point. That didn't happen until about my goodness, a year or two later, where I took my very first like official data science class at the University of Washington, where we had like it was called like I think it was like technical foundations of my major. And we basically learned how to code in R during this program. And this was like the most craziest opportunity ever. Like I was in, like, we had a Slack channel for our group, and one of the teaching assistants for the class like casually posted like, hey, there's like a data science internship. It's like, just send me an email that you're interested. And I was like, oh my goodness, I am absolutely interested. I've got spare time. So somehow I got, although I only had done like 1/4 of like data science at that point, got the internship, got to do that like spring and summer of, oh my goodness, this is 2020, which is feeling like a long time ago. Since then, more getting into data science, took a class in SQL this last month, a year ago now. So that's kind of how I got into data science. And now it's like, we'll get more into the passions later, but I feel like I'm interested in like the applied of the machine learning and artificial intelligence. And that's why I love the Global Azure AI Community Day.
Thanks, Locksley. That's really interesting to hear about, you know, having the in-class experience and then getting to apply that experience in an internship. That's really awesome. Anchal, do you want to talk about your background in data science?
Yeah, so that was very interesting, Locksley. So I also started my data science journey from university itself. I mean, I didn't start learning about data science at university, but I started my graduation project. So my graduation project was a data science project. It was a building a smart malware detection software. And that actually got me very interested in data science, and I wanted to start exploring the area more. And at that time, I also started working at IBM as well, where I slowly started developing my skills further and started working on different projects. And then I moved to a technical sales role in the data and AI team, and then now in consultancy, where I work as a data scientist for like multiple clients. Yep.
That's awesome. I think it's really interesting to hear about all of the different paths you could take, even like studying the same thing in school or even further in your career, kind of switching to different things that you realize that you like more. My background in data science is actually kind of really new. I never took a data science class in college, and I never had done any data science until my current role, which I started in April. So I was working through Microsoft Learn modules like everyone else, learning how to do data science. And I actually got to do this really awesome live show with one of my coworkers and friends, Chloe Condon. That's called Beep Boop. And we did a season. So it was like 5 episodes about data science. And it was actually kind of like a learn along format. So we learned a ton about data science just through doing that show. I will drop the link somewhere in the chat, but it's aka.ms/beepboop replay if you want to see any of those. But yeah, it's never too late to start learning data science and practicing it. We did a show about how to create a Power BI dashboard. Like we just learned how to do it. And then that same day made a Power BI dashboard to like look at the analytics from our show. So it's really quite amazing how quickly you can pick up these really awesome skills just from doing a Microsoft Learn module. I think On that same topic, what we should talk about next is what advice we have for people who would like to get started with data science. Anchal, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So, as you all know, like data science is a vast field. I mean, there's so many subdomains. Like there's computer vision, deep learning, predictive analytics. There's so much to do. So, what advice I would give is to pick a focus area and then excel in it. Yes, before that, you do need like the basic skills, like learning about programming, feature engineering, data preparation, etc. But then you can, once you're done with like the basics, you can always pick a area that you like. Another route that you can take is focusing on the industry itself. So if you like, for example, finance or retail, you can actually increase your skills in that industry, and then use your data science in those particular domains as well. So that's the advice I would give. Either pick a subdomain in data science or pick a domain in an industry that you like. Or you can do both as well. You can mix both of them as well. Okay.
That's really great advice. Locksley, do you have any other advice?
Yes, I feel like I have a ton of advice, so I apologize if I talk for a very long time. But I feel like the very first thing, especially for students, is to like find those data science classes at your university. And it's kind of funny because although my very first exposure with like an actual course in data science was R, I spoke to a couple of friends of mine and they're like, hey, if you're interested in data science, like definitely make sure you're taking those SQL classes and those Python classes. Like if I could go back and redo my college experience, which granted wasn't that long ago, I would have gone out of my way to take a intro to Python, because right now my Python's pretty surface level, and there's like a very special class. It's like intro to Python, data science plus machine learning. And I'm just like, how did I only learn about this upon graduation? So highly recommend taking classes in those skills. And another cool thing is that's available at a lot of universities is to specialize in data science, kind of like what Anchal said. So my specific major was called the Informatics degree, but people could choose to specialize in like data science, where they take a couple more unique classes in that. So if that's an opportunity at your university, I highly recommend it, because it's just a great way to go like, hey, maybe I have a degree in computer science or software engineering, but like my specialization, what I've taken core classes in, is data science. Like I have those skills, even though I might only be an undergraduate. The next step, I think, is like data science learning. It's like, even maybe you don't have access to those classes or you're not enrolled in university at this time, there are so many amazing learning resources out there. Like I'm so glad Ornella brought up Microsoft Learn, because there's just fantastic resources. Even last January, I took remembering the name of it, a Azure Artificial Intelligence Fundamentals certification, which was absolutely amazing. I loved it, but there's another data science fundamental certification. And that's a great way to like say like, not only do I have these skills and I learned it, I actually have a amazing Microsoft certification that tells me that I actually know it. And then the final thing, so data science learning, data science classes, the final thing is like the internships and the projects, where you get the hand-on experience in the data science. And like one thing Anchal said is like, in her graduation project, she worked on data science. And at my university, they had a capstone that we were required to do in our major before graduating. And they had amazing data science options, where actually one of my friends in the program did an entire one where he went through the database for like the King County, so in the Seattle area, like their entire like hockey system database. Like an absolutely amazing project, getting the hands-on experience. And then if you get the opportunity, go out and find internships, and even networking with people at like the roles and the companies and the specific interests you have in data science on LinkedIn. I absolutely love scheduling virtual coffee chats with people who have roles that I'm interested in.
Yeah, that's all really great advice. I think to echo on the interesting data sets portion, I think people can be a bit intimidated by the idea of like, doing something with a huge data set. And one way that I've been able to overcome that is to like pick a data set that's particularly interesting or like funny to me. So when one episode of Beep Boop, we used like squirrel data in Central Park. There's this group of folks who track all of the squirrels in Central Park in New York, and they have this open source data set, and you can just grab it and learn how to do, different transformations, how to clean your data, how to prepare your data. So I think if you can get engaged on the data set that you're working in, you're more likely to ask questions about it that then enable you to learn how to do those types of machine learning and all the different transformations to your data. So I think it doesn't have to be this big scary thing. And I think a way to kind of connect with it is to just pick something you're really interested about, which is also what Anchal said, or like an industry or whatever. But that's been really fun. Just like, I don't know if anyone has ever used Kaggle, but they just have like a bunch of open source data sets about like anything you could ever ask for. And it's really fun to just go through those and be like, am I curious about this topic? Is this something I want to kind of play with and see what I find? But yeah, I agree that, getting free online resources is a great way to start. Microsoft Learn has a lot of those. And I think you don't need a degree in data science to excel at it. I think that's something that is a big misconception. I mean, I came into an AI and ML role with zero experience in either of those things. And I think with the right resources and support, and maybe make like a little learning group with your people in your class, or people if you're like a Microsoft student ambassador in that community, there's a lot of really, really good opportunities to learn on your own time. And I think that is just as valuable as learning it in school.
Yep, I agree with you. I've actually used Kaggle like a lot of times to get a lot of data sets from. And one fun way I see a lot of people doing it is by using the Titanic data set. I've seen that project everywhere. Like that is like the beginner data set, that beginner project that people usually do to start off with their data science journey.
Yeah, there's this really funny, I guess it's not funny, but it's just fun. A group of people on my team also made this GitHub curriculum, ML for Beginners, which I highly suggest that people check it out. It's really great. But they did this project with like food data that I think was also from Kaggle. And so they kind of tried to figure out how you could categorize like what country of origin the food was from based on like the ingredients in it, because there was an ingredients list. I love food, so I think that's fascinating. There's so many opportunities like that to just like play with random data and see what you can find. The Titanic one is so great. I need to look at that.
It is.
Let me ask you this, Locksley. You mentioned that you have, all of these awesome interests outside of work. Is there anything that you're involved in that also helps you grow your data science skills?
Man, that's such a good question. But first of all, I need to check out that squirrel data set. That's going to become one of my new involvements, is I'll be watching that Beep Boop episode, because that just sounds so, I'm just like super proud of those people in New York City who are doing that. That is so cool.
They have a website, everything. You should look at it.
What? That is amazing. That is, oh my goodness. Literally, I'll be doing that instead of my schoolwork this afternoon because it sounds amazing. So, okay, my current involvement, man, I feel like some of my favorite involvement to do, which is, so maybe this is kind of a good message for like kind of especially women in data science. Like I remember when I first like was in like first quarter at the University of Washington, like they have a huge hackathon in like October. I think it happens. It's like for students, it happens like this weekend. It's crazy. And I remember at the time, like I was at this hackathon and I was like, I don't know if I'm necessarily a hackathon person. Like I didn't know if I necessarily fit in with like this room of like hundreds of people. But then by the end of this hackathon, like the people who had the winning prize had done this absolutely amazing topic where they had used Azure Custom Vision. And I was like, oh my goodness, this sounds really interesting. I like winning hackathons. So do you know what? I'm going to try this. I'm going to just like lock this away. And the next time I go to a hackathon, I'll try out Azure Custom Vision because it sounds very interesting. And then at my next hackathon, which happened to be, it's called the Women in Informatics Hackathon at the University of Washington. And I created this super awesome data set with my team where it's kind of in like the area of like unstructured data, where we took all of these images and were able to like kind of, and like very much like, no, like don't take it with medical credibility, but create a baseline of like, could you possibly be developing Alzheimer's disease based off of a test someone could easily fill out? So just an amazing way to apply like these image data. And so after this event, I was like, okay, like kind of the image and object recognition is what really interests me about like maybe the data science and the artificial intelligence machine learning field. But let's take it one step further. And actually, I ran to become the Hackathon Director for Women in Informatics. And so all last year, I was planning our first ever virtual hackathon at the University of Washington. It was probably one of the craziest months of my entire life, but it was such a fun way to kind of continue doing data science outside of school, kind of add that piece in. But now it's like, it's been a little while since the hackathon. What am I still doing? I love like writing technical blogs. Obviously I'm doing conferences like these, which I absolutely love. And the final thing, I've got just like these ideas like rolling around in my head. So right now I'm thinking I want to go into the realm of like artificial intelligence that's like from voice recognition. So look out for a project in another like 3 months where I'm actually going to record my voice. So I'll be creating my own raw data, which will be very interesting because I've never done anything like it before. And hopefully be able to like say something into like a microphone and it'll input out an emoji. That is the hope. Whether it actually happens, we will learn. So stay tuned for that. It'll be a ton of fun.
That's so cool. That's a really good idea to explore kind of a new technology, which is the speech recognition. That's awesome. I had a really similar experience with hackathons when I was in college, where I actually went to school for environmental science originally, and I ended up dropping that class on the first day while I was still sitting in the room. And we had to make a list for our advisors of all of, like a list of classes that were interesting to us that we wanted to take before we graduated. And so I just looked at that list and saw kind of what fit in that time slot in my schedule. And it happened to be Intro to CS. And I had 3 female professors who were like absolutely my role models and my motivation. And that very first semester of college, after doing, half a semester of coding, never coded before, my team won the hackathon. And that just like unlocked so many doors for us. Like, I really had no idea that, I could get a technical internship or anything. And so I spent the next summer like working at a startup, writing code. It was just so foreign and weird to me. And it really was unlocked because of this hackathon. Because, when you're a first year in college, there's not really a ton going on your resume. But like, if you have some hackathons under your belt, people really enjoy hearing about those projects and what you built. So totally agree with you, Locksley. Hackathons are a great way to get your foot in the door and also to explore technologies that you think are interesting, like data science.
I completely agree. And just to add on to that, first of all, congratulations. Winning a hackathon is like so impressive. Like, here's you for that. So the one thing that actually made me think of is hackathons are an amazing opportunity because I actually applied right before the global pandemic started, like February of 2020. I applied to go to the Stanford Tree Hacks Hackathon in like Palo Alto, California. And I got a free trip to go to Stanford and participate in their hackathon, which was so much fun. Like, got to explore San Francisco. So like that was just an opportunity I would have never had if it wasn't for applying to attend hackathons that were outside of my town. And that's a lot of like these big collegiate hackathons. They provide scholarships so that people from out of the state can attend, which is so cool. So there's so many great things to do at a hackathon. And even if you don't win, you get awesome swag. You get to network with great people, do technologies that you might not be learning in the classroom. And then there's always free food, which is amazing. So there's that as well.
Totally. If you're looking for a hackathon to participate in, CalHacks, which is UC Berkeley's hackathon, is next weekend, and I'm actually mentoring that one. So I think they're still even accepting applications. So if that's something you're interested in, it's all virtual. So folks can sign up for that and see what technology they want to explore there. I'm excited for that. A bit on the topic of kind of being a woman in data science, I wanted to ask Anshul if you ever experienced imposter syndrome and what advice you might have for people who might also feel this way.
Yes, so I have experienced imposter syndrome, and it's actually very true. That's something that I've realized right now. So it can happen at any stage, and for me, it happened when I was in the middle of switching jobs. And there are multiple ways to overcome it, actually, and you just need to find what method works best for you. So one way is to realize that no one is perfect. We are all humans. We all make mistakes. We're not going to be the best at everything. I mean, we can pick like a area that we're best at and try to do something that we're best at, right? Like we don't need to be perfect at everything that we do. And another way is to remind ourselves of the successes that we've achieved so far. Maybe you can write them down, or maybe you can make a mental note of it and see how you've contributed to your own successes and how you are going to be the reason that you will progress ahead. Another way is also by speaking with your mentor or your manager, and they can always help you out, like with any problem that you're facing. Yeah, that's the advice that I have.
Totally. Yeah, that's great advice. I think something we try to embody at Microsoft is like the growth mindset. And I think that really comes in handy when dealing with imposter syndrome too. Like, I kind of just realized one day that I could learn anything if I put some time and energy into it. Like, it really just, you've made it this far. You're so like equipped with so many different skills. What's one more skill? And yeah, I think just focusing on, areas for growth, and also what you said about realizing that everyone else is also growing and learning, really, really important. Locksley, do you have anything you want to add?
Even like imposter syndrome, even like coming onto a women in data science panel, I'm just like, oh my goodness, like, am I actually supposed to be here? But I think it's like, it's really, I think, what, at the end of the day, it's like, this has been so much fun. I'm just like, even like, I did some prep in advance to make sure like, okay, like, oh yes, I actually do know this stuff, even though I might not feel like I know it all the time. So I feel like it's kind of, yeah, I like completely agree with the growth mindset, and just even like putting yourself out there for opportunities that you might not think you're qualified for, but then like, heck, like apply for everything, and then a couple might happen, which is super cool.
Totally. Okay, I wanted to end on a bit of a fun question. So I'm curious to know what you both are most excited about in the field right now. Anshul, do you want to start?
Sure. So I'm actually most excited to see how AI can actually help with education. So I've been seeing that there is a lot being done in the education space, like where they're trying to improve the experience for students, for example, by providing more personalized education, by helping teachers with marking students' exams. So I'm really excited to see how AI will improve education and especially make it more accessible for everyone, since it's such an important subject.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Locksley, do you have an answer to that one?
Man, I love Anchel's answer, education. So in addition to education, I think what I'm so excited about right now is the data visualization side of things, taking all of these numbers and make them actually mean something to people. And I think where this kind of comes from is there's amazing apps, even on my phone, that basically tell me how much am I listening to audiobooks every day? How many steps do I walk in a day? For example, climbed Mount St. Helens 2 weeks ago. I've been so busy and it's been a little stormy outside that I've only gone on a walk once since. And so I've seen that drop. So it's okay, I need to build that up again, although it is getting a little sad and the days are getting shorter. But then it's taking a data visualization and then applying it to my actual work. I recently had a colleague who got into Power BI and created an entire dashboard that tracked our progress on our weekly sprints. It was absolutely mind blowing. So going into that kind of low code data visualization is something, it's on my to learn list. So I'm so you inspired me, Ornella, even just reminded me of that, because oh my goodness, I need to get into that immediately.
Yeah, check out that Power BI Learn module. Honestly, it was great. Thank you both so much for joining me today to talk about this really awesome topic. I had so much fun. And I just wanted to remind everyone watching, I'm just going to share my screen really quick, that you can reach us on LinkedIn or on Twitter if you have any questions or want to know more about anything we talked about. And just a little something for the Global AI Student Conference. If you do any of those Learn modules that we talked about today, they're planting a tree for every module, which is awesome. And there is the link to grow the Global AI Forest. So exciting. Thanks so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Ornella. Thank you, Anshal. And thank you, Locksley. It was amazing. I really enjoyed so much all the talk about learning data science, all the different paths, using different sources in Microsoft Learn or online learning, and also going to hackathons and stuff like that is definitely amazing. And I really feel very happy because all of you are women. And we also, right before 2 sessions ago, we had another girl that was talking about women going more into technology and encouraging more women to go in these fields and improve the skills and stuff. So definitely that's amazing. And I really want to thank you for all the things that you said. It encouraged me so much. And I hope to all of our people that are watching, they are encouraged as well. So thank you so much also, Ornella, for reminding about the Cloud Skill Challenge. And definitely if you want to complete it, you still have 16 hours. And remember to send an email with the screenshot to the AIConf at globalai.community. And yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Losley, you want to say something?
Yeah, I thank you so much. I think we're nearing the end of our conference. I think our final message is a thank you. We can't do this conference. You see us on the front. There are so many people working behind the scenes to make this happen. Thank you so much to our sign language interpreters to make this conference accessible. I feel like this is the only conference that I speak at that's accessible every single time. It's so inspiring and it's amazing. And the next 2 more people we want to thank before we'll close it out, or also be thanking people for the rest of the evening, is our amazing people behind the scenes, Hank Boldman and Dmitry Shoshnikov. They're the people making sure that we know what we're doing and they make us look so good up here. So thank you so much to all of our participants. Thank you to our people behind the scenes. Thank you so much to our sign language interpreters. Thank you so much, Louisa. And I think that wraps our 3rd Global AI Student Conference. See you next time.